As flickered flame makes shadows bend, and smoke meets moonlight, cold and blue, when blackest night hails twilight's end, then darkness comes to beckon you. As hunger turns the flesh to fire, and breathing falters, reason halts, then creep the claws of dark desire to rip and split you at your faults. You have spent several weeks traveling with your companions, and your relationships have been building in different ways. What have you done along the journey to endear yourself to your companions, and what have you been trying to hide from them about yourself? And we will go ahead and start with Thistle Halgraven, who is played by Rafa.
I was afraid you were gonna start with me. How dare you read my thoughts, Eleanor? Okay. I think that one thing that she's been trying to do to ingratiate herself to her companions is, obviously, Lagunitas is there, right? Log ingratiates himself on his own. He doesn't need to do anything. He's a perfect little angel as he is. He is everyone's garbage disposal at the end of dinner. Uh, And I think that she tells tales of when she was in past adventuring parties of the things that Log's gotten into and the odd little adventures that he has had almost on his own along with the party. I do think though that it's pretty notable that she doesn't talk about any party that she's been with long term. Um I think that she seems to be skipping over, and I think it's becoming increasingly obvious that she's skipping over a large section of her life. And yeah, that I think is what she's trying to hide from people.
Got it. All right. How about Sinza Dukhan, who is played by Nikki?
I think easiest way to ingratiate yourself, I think, is to be helpful, and I think that's a twofold. It's not a selfless device. I think it's a way of making sure she seems competent. Sinza is the youngest of the group here, and she feels it. And um, I mean, to pull something from my own life, when I was 19, I was unfortunately and predictably dating a 25-year-old.
Oh,
Regrettable. But that meant that all
no.
of his friends, yeah, all his friends were of that age group, and there was a very big sense within myself of like, I can't act like a teenager. I have to be cool. These folks are all mature and cool. And I think there's a lot of that energy behind her helpfulness. It's a lot of these things kind of fold into each other. I think the what she's hiding, and I think she's using her way of ingratiating herself to hide the fact that she is extremely insecure about the fact that she is younger than everybody else. She wants to prove that she is um, helpful and useful and can stand up to everybody else here. I mean, we have it's not even just like in my personal life where it was a gap of 6 to 10 years depending on who was part of the friend group. It's with the elves here a much larger age gap, and there's a lot of insecurity based around that, I think. And so she's just
There's what,
anything
like
that's
90 years between her and Morrow?
yeah, and that is no, I think nothing gets under her skin quite like someone giving her the like, oh honey, you'll understand when you've lived a little longer. And so she's really trying to prove that she is responsible, mature, and capable in the things that she is helpful about. Whether it's like, oh, we need someone to go get firewood, and she's the first one to be like, I'll get it, and like make sure that she gets the most that she can get, or things along those lines.
It's like
Just so
a
they don't
boy
think that
at
she's a
church
baby.
camp who keeps like he like gets like all of the chairs under his arms.
Yeah,
He's
she would carry
perfectly
all of the
strong.
chairs in one go, all of the grocery bags in one trip. Like that's
Absolutely.
big
Okay.
Sinza energy right now.
That's
Got it.
that's a t-shirt. Big scenes of energy.
Yeah!
Just her carrying a lot of
You
folding chairs.
see. How about for Morrow, played
Um,
by Harley?
I think Morrow has tried to take, because correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Morrow is the oldest out of everybody. Morrow's
212. Yes.
So Morrow is not necessarily trying to take the parental role, but more of like the big sister role. She does occasionally, she's very judgy. She's a very judgy bitch. So the comments do sometimes flip past the filter. But for the most part, she does keep herself very, very helpful. She tries to let them learn, but if she's like, oh, you're gonna get more than just a little hurt, maybe don't. Um, but she's also doing things like, yes, we all give Log scraps, but I think Thistle has caught her giving Log like his own mini plate of food at the beginning on more than one occasion. She would be mortified if Thistle ever said anything to her. She thinks she's being very sneaky. Like she's sometimes Wick finds little bits and pieces that can be used for his different act outside his tent. I don't know if he knows that it's Morrow leaving them there or not. And she's more or less tried to lean into Sinza's I'm not a child, don't treat me like one, even if sometimes, oh my god, you make it so hard. But, like, she tries. As far as what she's hiding, you really don't know anything about her backstory. The only thing is what she dropped to Sinza about when she potentially fucked up years ago. But she does not talk about her past. She dances around it. It goes past being a private person.
All right. And finally, Wick Bloomberry, played by Dawn.
Wick is definitely the foodie of the group. And so I think that every morning when people get up, Wick is the one who's getting everybody there. Well, I guess for him, it would be second breakfast. He's already eaten. It's an early rising thing. And so I think that his communication and the way that he gives back to the group is definitely through food. I think he also spends a lot of time with Log. I think that they're both always looking for food. They're always foraging. I think he has deep conversations with Log. And Wick doesn't really have much to hide. I think the only thing that about Wick is he knows that he's not a very good liar. And he doesn't like to lie. He likes being an honest being. And I think that sometimes he sees this as being a strength, but I think he also sees this as being a little bit of a weakness. He doesn't want to be caught off guard and say anything that can offend anybody, but he's always very much diplomacy over deception. And that's basically him.
Alrighty. So, the night before you are due to arrive in the town of Pale Gleam, you enjoy the light of the full moon, camped beside the misty banks of the Glimmergrave River. Morrow, you sit on a collapsible stool beside your tent, casting your eyes over the group. Amarnis is tending to the ox you acquired in Artis, cleaning its hooves. You notice a rare, soft smile on his young face. Odessa is finishing inspecting her laboratory equipment, checking for anything broken from the bumpy journey. Wick, you notice Odessa's work is complete, and you hand off the ration tonic you've been warming up for her by the fire. She's not taken off her mask since you disembarked the Pale Pioneer, using the port near her mouth to sip her daily meal. You've taken it upon yourself to choose which tonic she consumes each day, so she never has the same flavor twice in a row. And I will let you approach Odessa as she is finishing up her work for the evening.
Odessa, would it be all right if I served you a potion to you in a separate way today?
Wick, yes, I have been growing rather tired of the monotony. What did you have in mind?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about your potions. At first, I was actually quite sad about them because, well, I love ingredients and I love food. But the more I thought about them, your potions are quite special. The ingredients all should have very interesting stories of how they were discovered and how you obtain them and put them together. To me, it kind of is a little bit like a soup. Um, and Wick will go and take her potion, and he's going to get a wooden bowl and pour the potion into a bowl and give her a wooden spoon. He's also going to garnish the side of it with like his own tomatoes and some mint and stuff. So he's got this just absolutely gorgeous little bowl to hand back to her. And here you go. I hope you like it. I know it's a little bit different, but to me, it makes me feel like home.
Thank you, Wick. I have heard it said that we eat with the eyes first, and everything I see has a filter because of this mask, but I think I see more in this bowl than meets the eye. And I appreciate how you are trying to make this all feel a little more normal.
Well, you're very welcome. Like I said, I think they're quite special. It's very much like a soup. I brought some items to make some food for the others as well, and I'd like it if you sat with us.
I would be delighted to do so. And Odessa takes the bowl in one hand and puts the straw in her port rather than holding it, just placing it within so that she can mime almost eating with the spoon as you
This
continue
pleases
to
Wick.
have your
He
dinner.
loves it.
Wonderful. Cinza, you're studying the crackling fire, watching smoke and mist swirling together in inscrutable patterns. You haven't talked too much to your companions, but once you left the capital, or the former capital rather, of Ardis and crossed over officially into Vesperholt, this is Radia's realm. And potentially tomorrow, you will be seeing her again for the first time in almost a decade. Is that something that would be on Scenes' mind? If so, what are the thoughts that you are rolling over this idea of asking her for something that Emmerich couldn't get from her father? Do you feel a pressure to perform here?
There is no other thought that crosses her mind besides what tomorrow could hold. She has been sitting staring into this fire, this sort of like, what if she doesn't remember me? What if who I am doesn't matter? What if this, well, that might not be such a bad thing. Fresh meeting could be fresh impression. It could be, and just these thoughts rolling over and over. And then the idea that like, yeah, what if there is a bit of, there's a constant thread of trying to prove herself that I think is pretty pervasive with Cinza, and there is this enticing little thread of like, what if I could get it? I mean, Emmerich, he's getting up there in years, and what if, what if, yeah, what if I could do it? Okay, and then so there's this like rolling cycle of anxiety turning to talking herself up into confidence. But what if I can't though? What if I don't? Well, then I just have to think. I don't want to return empty-handed. She's almost muttering to herself in like broken sentences, like if you've ever started a conversation halfway through a thought that's been rolling around in your head and you just sort of blurt out, but then we need to get the sandwiches, and the people around you are like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's doing that, but just like mumbling. So anybody would have to be close enough to her to hear these sort of mumbles. But yeah, it's just this cycle, and every hour that ticks closer to this fated meeting just gets more this roller coaster of thoughts just keeps going over and over, like more intensely.
Got it. So your thoughts are roiling. I imagine your hair is glowing like the light bulb over the head. And meanwhile, Thistle, you pick your way through the tall grass to the water's edge to locate Log, who is dug into the river mud, slapping their tail in the muck and croaking with delight.
This is why she doesn't wear sleeves. So she's going to put both arms into the mud and just kind of scoop him out with some of the bog.
This
Yeah.
is why she doesn't wear sleeves.
And she's gonna go, "Oh, you're so good." And scratch his favorite spot. And then I'm going to look at him very seriously and I go, "We have a very important mission tomorrow. We gotta do stuff for our friend. And then once we are done, I will get you a roast ham."
I don't
And
know why, but my brain is supplying like the Ponyo sound.
and the joy that flashes in Log's eyes when you say ham suddenly clouds over with darkness. And Thistle, you know that you're no longer looking at Log. You are looking directly at your patron in this moment. And it's almost as if you hear your patron say, "Time to be alert." And you feel a tingling on the back of your neck. You swipe at it thinking maybe some bug has crawled onto you from the tall grass. But your whole
And the mud up
body,
to my elbows, yes.
but your whole body feels on edge, as if something dreadful and wonderful is about to happen. Then, the night sky seems to rupture open with 100 draconic eyes, spinning wildly in space, all before fixing their gaze on you. Before any of you can react, the silhouette of a huge dragon, outstretched, appears against the moonlit sky, the membrane of its wings reflecting back your own faces as it shows its full glory to you.
Guys, dragon, dragon, dragon!
The eyes wink closed and disappear as the creature alights onto the river, tucking its curiously curved wings, staring you face to face. Though their mouth does not open, you all hear it address you. "Good evening."
Morrow has
I offer a curtsy?
Morrow has absolutely stood up and I think is trying to put, without really thinking about it, trying to put Sinza behind her, even though I'm pretty sure Sinza has a few inches on Morrow. Morrow's only like 5'6".
Yeah, Sinza's tall.
But she's
Yeah,
immediately like, no,
Sinza's
gotta
not even
protect.
noticed. She hasn't even noticed. I think it's just full on. Nothing is happening other than this draconic face, hand on sword, but trembling. This is the first time she's come face to face with a dragon. Like, what else do you do besides shake?
Thistle is answering that question by very quickly going right up to the water's edge and is like starting to like take off her boots. She's like, "Holy shit, I can see one up close."
Um, GM, in Morrow's 212 years, has she ever encountered dragons before? How common would they be?
Dragons are not as uncommon as you might think. Some of them do enjoy embedding themselves into mortal culture or bipedal culture, as it were. Some of them are very active in the communities. Some of them are tyrannical in the communities. So it's absolutely not uncommon for you to have encountered a dragon. There are fey dragon, there are celestial dragons. So you absolutely may have encountered one, but certainly none with this magnitude. You can tell looking at this dragon that it is probably 1,000 years old, if not more.
I think outwardly she kind of keeps her very even composure. Also, thank you so much to our artist. I will be updating our description to drop our artist's Instagram, but like look at the shiny character art that we have now. But this general Morrow vibe that we've got going on here, we can all see it stays, but I feel like the rest of the party can see like the jaw tighten and like the little signs of unease, even though she isn't doing her best to keep her external composure.
And
Thistle is
I think that
full
Wick.
wide-eyed optimism now. Guys, everything's gonna be great.
There's a dragon. Got that dragon autism in me.
What is
Yeah,
Wick
seriously.
thinking?
Wick is scared, terrified. He's a little bit confused as to why the dragon hasn't just attacked. So he's actually getting ready with a fleeing potion because he doesn't want to fight a dragon if it comes to that. It's gonna be time to leave.
Okay. So Thistle is moving closer. The rest of you are frozen in place. Wick is ready to leave. Does anyone try talking to the dragon?
Yes, loudly, with much enthusiasm.
Mood.
Okay.
Expected.
Can I, since I literally have a dragon autism, can I try to use my lore dragon to help me out to know if there's anything like custom that I'm supposed to be following?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a roll.
Excellent. 18.
Okay. So with an 18 total, you can identify that this kind of dragon is an omen dragon. Omen dragons are those who are usually very reclusive. They are sometimes sought out for their wisdom. Rather than maintaining one singular horde, they like to have caches all around a particular area. And Omen dragons have a particular talent for seeing into the future. You, Thistle, are old enough, and Morrow certainly is old enough to remember a time when prophecy was much more potent and things could be predicted with accuracy. That time has passed. So the Omen dragons of today are much more cryptic, much more cagey than they used to be. And many of them have, like so many priests and seers and prognosticators did over 100 years ago, gone quite mad with the inability to see the future.
Okay, I'm gonna say, we would be happy to move camp if we're in your way. But I do have some questions. And then she pulls out like from her skirts like this really big binder, and it's quite literally embossed. Questions I have for dragons. Um,
I feel like
and
Thistle's going to feel Morrow's hand on her shoulder. Just be like, we
and I'm like, I got this, I got it. It's cool, it's cool, it's cool. Um,
You do
So, and then
take
she like starts like paging through, trying to find her specific questions for this specific kind of dragon.
Bef-
Mara,
before you begin, yeah, before you begin speaking, this is enough of a pause for the Omen Dragon to continue. There's a roar that comes out of it, not an angry one, but a one that arrests you in your tracks.
Mara's jaw is going to
Just
tighten, and those within like 3-ish feet of her can hear that just very quiet exhale of like, don't lose your nerve.
disciple of dragons, student of the unseen, descendant of the first world, insurgent of the matriarch. You are known to me. You exist in many places, but live in none. Heed me now. No one can live within memory, nor can memory give life to its conjurer. It is a hungry ghost.
I'm gonna look at my party and I'm just gonna be like, is he talking to me? Is this about me?
Sophia, I believe you've started this. And now I do believe you need to finish it. If I were you, I would ask him anything about why he's here, but I don't really have a lot to help you with this. And I think
And then
she's
she
gonna quietly just kind of offer her hand in support to Thistle. She's like, I can literally hold your hand, but that's all I have for you, my
that's
dear.
all I can do for you. She turns back to the dragon and she goes, then you know something of my purpose.
Known, unknown. They are similar, more the same than you may perceive. And Moro, that comment you feel a little bit is directed at you as well, as a disciple of Shaika. The enemies of this land trade in whispers. Is the opposition of a whisper silence or a scream? I am aware of your purpose, for the comings and goings of this land are my preoccupation and my occupation, and your future has been foreseen. No one yet has cause to look for you, as I do. But when you are seen, you are known, and it is a dreadful thing to be known. And he turns his head to Odessa. Seeker of salvation, through dilution and distillation, you have found salvation for others, but no close to your own satisfaction. Journeyed long and sacrificed much you have, and so unbending is the will of orphaned children. It is not foretold that I give you more than a glimpse beyond the veil. A query regarding the events of the next 7 days, for which you may seek my guidance.
Okay.
If I may be so bold. And she does pause slightly, almost as if, like, for once in her life, Sinza is watching Morrow wait for permission. And
One of many, speak.
I got into RP and forgot the question. What did he say again? I am so sorry.
So, what the dragon has posited to you is that they will do a reading for you. If you ask them a question regarding the events of the next 7 days, they will attempt to pierce the veil of time and give you a warning that you may heed to help your endeavors.
If I may be so bold to impose upon you, I would like to know what you deem is most important for me to know. I would not consider myself smarter or greater than you, and I cannot fathom what you have seen.
And the dragon will pause a moment to allow you all to come to a consensus before it does the reading.
Does it appear that the dragon that they are looking for one singular question from the group, or this
think
is
so.
a
Yeah.
okay?
Yes.
Because he's waiting for us to
Through
agree on something.
Yeah. I think
I
Sinza turns and looks to everybody else. Why us? What is happening? Why is this about us?
I
Well,
think
my dear, this does tie into, I believe, the same reason that I questioned your loyalty to Count Montcree. There are forces at play that we cannot understand. And I don't know how many of those forces the Count is aware of. That
I'm
being
really
said,
excited I'm related to dragons. But guys, I
this is not normal, no.
no. This specific kind of dragon can kind of see into the future, but he will be speaking in riddles. Is anyone good at those?
absolutely not. I would like to know. Um, hmm. Is there a consequence at all for knowing? Is this a trick?
I mean,
I don't
But
think
if
they
we ask,
deal.
if we ask him that, does that count as our question?
That absolutely will count as our question.
well, we can't
Can
ask.
we ask him
We
why
certainly
he's
can't
helping
ask
us?
him.
That
Well, I
might
think
also count as our
it
question.
might. It might.
Darn
Don't
it!
nobody ask him if that counts as our question, because that question might count as our question. Nobody do that, okay?
Okay.
We've all seen the
I think it
D&D
would be
movie one too many times.
I
Um,
think it might be because I am of some sort of dragon descent, I guess. I got something going on. I'm glad my hyperfixation's paying off. But okay. I kind of liked the
I'm
question of what's the most important thing for us to know.
Yes.
I
Here's the one
it's
thing that I have learned in my 2 centuries. Dragons are going to do what dragons are going to do. They have their own motives, they have their own reasons, and they might not make sense to us. But that is not going to stop the dragon. So, whatever its motivations are, it can, as dear Thistle said, see somewhat into the future. I feel like it's here for a reason, but probably will not tell us what that reason is. So the best we can do is try to pose it a question that will give us the greatest amount of information in one question.
would
What was
I
the
think, go ahead first.
what was the name of what was the name of Scenes' old friend that we're going to go see?
Radia.
Radia?
Mm-hmm. Radia,
Um,
Radia.
I'm curious if maybe we could ask if we can trust Radia.
I was honestly thinking something along those lines as well. If perhaps maybe not whether or not we can trust her, but if the if making this deal will have consequences, or perhaps what those
We don't
consequences would
have
be if we're
consequences.
successful.
Every deal
I
has consequences. My concern is this. We can only trust, given that we can trust Radia, let's assume that we can. Nothing against your childhood friend, Sinza. I just have not met her, so I cannot speak to her character.
if we're being honest, I haven't seen her in years. We've quite literally only met one time.
Well, then, you will understand why I say what I say. We can only trust her as far as the information she believes to be true.
Sure.
She could wholeheartedly tell us that, oh, she's trustworthy and this Lazarite is ours for the taking if she wants, but if she is unaware of any consequences, she's not lying to us by telling us there aren't any, and we still go in unaware and unprepared.
I
I
agree.
suppose that's where the dragon would come in if we asked what the consequences might be. But
Yes.
GM, is it possible? This feels like a good space where I might be able to use my esoteric lore.
Mhm.
If only to get a sense for how these prophecies maybe typically play out. Is this like a, if we get this prophecy, whatever we end up asking, is it like a set path thing, or is it like this is one outcome that is very likely? Can I get a sense for that if I perhaps used esoteric lore?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me a esoteric roll lore or lore roll.
Wonderful. 13 on the die plus 14
Mhm.
makes for a 27.
Great. So you are aware what is key for you is the idea of 7 days. So this offering of a prognostication that the dragon is offering to you functions as the read omens spell. You would choose a particular goal or activity you plan to engage in within 1 week, or an event you expect might happen within 1 week. You learn a cryptic clue or piece of advice that could help with the chosen event, often in the form of a rhyme or an omen. So it is meant to be assistive rather than predictive.
Got it. Um, I think, looking at everybody here, I don't know a ton. I mean, I didn't really know that omen dragons were still around based on, you know, my experience, but it would occur to me that maybe this is less hard, fast information. The future is malleable, nebulous. This is less going to be a concrete answer and more something that could just help us. So I don't hate the idea of the initial question that Morrow posed of what would be most important for us to know, but that might be too vague to get a proper answer.
That
I
is
see
fair.
that.
We would know what, but nothing about when, how, or how that affects us. That is a very good point, Sinza. How would you
Okay.
treat it?
I think maybe asking about something we know that within the next 7 days we intend to proposition Radia for her blessing to obtain the Lazarite. That is a definitive thing that we know that we are planning on doing within the next week. I think
Holy,
something surrounding that is our best option.
I'm thinking when we remove the Lazarite, will that cause some catastrophe?
Will
Again, it's
that
just
happen
going
in
to give
the
us assistive,
Yeah.
it's just going to be sort of helpful information, not necessarily a yes or no. It's not as predictive, I think.
Okay.
I also don't believe we'll be removing Lazarite in the next 7 days. So I don't think that one would work.
Yeah, I think it's the proposition. I think it's the act of us. I think we need to ask about how that will go, or what
If they would say yes.
if we need advice, perhaps it's almost as if we're.
Oh,
He did say you may seek guidance. He just said you may seek guidance. They did.
Seems
What
I've
was your
just had a thought.
Hmm.
While my earlier mistrust in you and the Count may have been misplaced, it does come from a place of experience, and it is not impossible that while we might be able to trust Miss Radia, are there people who she trusts that might not have her or our best interests at heart?
Isn't that the case with every leader in every nation?
Ever, yes, but what if we knew who they were going in?
I think then the key is to ask guidance on our council with Radia, with our attempt. I think that was what was offered, was guidance within the next 7 days on
Um,
what we plan to do.
I have a +0 in intelligence and a +4 in wisdom. Is anyone better than me at those two things?
I have a +2 and a +1 respectively,
I
but I
think,
also have
uh,
wacky, like my lore thing is wacky. So if it's about something specific, I may be able to roll esoteric on it.
GM coming up with, if I were going to put a stat to coming up with which question would get us the most information, which one would you say it would be?
Generally, that would be either society or occultism.
Well, I've got a +8 in occultism and a +0 in society. So can I do occultism about it and see if I can
I have
use
a +12 in
shitty-
occultism
Can you do that?
or a plus
Sure, go ahead.
14 in society.
I'll take that +14 in society. How about this? I'll roll occultism, you roll society,
And we'll see what
and
happens.
we'll see what we can get.
See what kind of shenanigans we get into.
Just to remind myself, DM, that is a GM, apologies, that is a D20 plus my occultism bonus.
Correct. All checks are done with the d20.
Okay, that could be worse. You go first, Raph.
27?
27 society and 22 occultism.
Okay. So your thought process is not wrong. Generally what is going to potentially help you is anything that will give you maybe leverage in the conversation with Radia, or a way to approach her to get her to agree or to say yes. The other one is you guys know very little about Skytear and Skytear Island, and you know that you will have to go there. So asking direct questions about the island could also prepare you for what you might be facing if you do get approval to go there.
Okay. I think Morrow's mind is just racing at this point, and she's kind of just like, the hamster's on the wheel, but nobody's home. Is kind of what's going
Right. Well, I've given you plenty of time to debate. I think now is the time to decide.
on.
Otherwise, I will make the decision for you.
Absolutely. Um,
I
Sinza,
think
Thistle, I think you two should ask a question. Thistle, you know dragons better than anyone here, and Sinza, you know more about where we're going than anywhere else. And quite honestly, I don't know if I'm equipped for this. As she just kind of looks up at there's too many variables in her head. She can't figure out what the best thing to do is, and she's kind of overloading.
Cinza looks at Thistle, since the dragon was talking to her and doesn't want to take over. Yeah, doesn't want to take over that conversation, but will say, kind of look at the other two, at Wick and at Morrow. I honestly think that it needs to be about Radia, and because, well, where we're going is unfamiliar to us too. Should we get the approval? We're not going there unless we get her approval. So
I will turn to
either
Wick is
go ahead.
Wick is just sitting with he's still got his fleeing potion ready, and he's just like, I wholeheartedly agree. Just any
Okay.
minute.
he's uncorked it. He's like got a mug ready
Yeah.
to pour it into just to
Through all the conversation, it's like, I think we're good. No, Nate, put it away. No, we're gonna
No, we're gonna keep
any
it
minute.
out.
uh,
He's gearing up
um
to
I think
at any moment, at a moment's notice, he's out of there.
I think Sinza's vote is going to be to ask about um the best way to approach Radia to meet our goal. I think that's the most open-ended but still pointed.
Laura's gonna sit her ass down next to Wick and just
Yeah, I have another one.
like she's tapped out. You can hear the dial-up sound.
Well,
Okay,
cheers.
So we're gonna ask about Radia.
Yes, Thistle will turn to the dragon. Oh, mighty seer, we ask humbly in our quest to speak to Radia. What are the challenges that we may face? And what dangers lie ahead in our request to seek out these minerals?
Okay. So Gurvallinn once more unfurls these mirrored membrane wings, and their eyes roll back in their head, so there's nothing but whites as they reach out into the wider world. And the mirror, at first it's almost as though the wings disappear because of the mist that is behind them on the river. But then you see drifting across these mirrors, you see something in the mist, and as you're seeking within this frame, you see tall dark trees and a rocky facade behind the mist. And it occurs to you that you are seeing a quick glance of Skytear Island, and the dragon intones, "A curse of benevolence, a heart of malevolence, shifting sands, energy, prevalence." And the island grows smaller and smaller, and you realize that the perspective that you were seeing is pulling further and further away until you realize you are quite high up. And what comes into view from these mirrored membrane wings, is a large, dark, grand mansion on top of a bluff. Moonlight, eyes of morning, a hollowed heart full of loss, cold fires contained in a shackle of black iron. And sure enough, as the perspective continues to pull back, you see that the mansion is surrounded by these black iron filigreed gates. And just before this scene is gone.
Can we all see this, or is it just
You all see it, absolutely. You all see it, yeah. And the telepathy too is going to all of you at once. Okay. Just before you lose sight of this and the dragon folds their wings back in, Wick, you could swear, and it's not enough even maybe to alert your companions in this moment, but there's a figure, a dark, shadowy figure, and it's much too big to be in the scene that you're seeing. It's much too big to be someone walking up to this mansion, or a guard walking through the trees. The perspective is wrong, and you only get that momentary flash before the dragon closes their wings again, and none of you all noticed what Wick noticed in that scene. All you noticed is those black iron gates, while the dragon was intoning "Cold fires contained in a shackle of black iron." And your prognostication is complete.
Is there anything significant about the black iron that Mora would be aware of? I wanted to say Thistle. That's not even my character.
That's not your
No,
name.
not
That's not your name.
particularly. It's a very common building material, particularly for gates, and yeah, there's nothing unusual about it from what you see.
The filigree was just decorative. It wasn't like
is
a
it?
particular crest or anything like
Yeah, I
that.
was gonna ask.
Exactly.
Okay, so Morrow is officially like she does for once in her life she doesn't know something. And it shows. And
And go ahead.
well, no, this is all you see. She's
This is it.
she's
She's just trying to
useless.
figure it out.
She's
Um,
the dots are not connecting.
it is wonderful when words have a double meaning. But is there any sense based on intonation on anything, whether that was eyes of mourning, like grieving, or daylight?
I thought the same thing.
So, because this is a telepathic communication,
Sure.
I would say that it is the grieving that we are looking at.
Okay.
But that might not necessarily be the intent. It might be intended to be a double meaning, but as you heard it, it was the mourning with a U. And considering Radia's father passed away several months ago,
Mm-hmm.
that might be the reference.
Gotcha.
I'm going to look up at the dragon and I'm going to say, I still have so many questions.
Don't go.
We
Don't
may
go.
yet,
Wait.
we may yet meet again. For all that is made may be unmade, the revelation forgotten, and the bedrock crumble to obscuring ash. Farewell. And with those parting words, the dragon unfurls their reflective wings one last time and flies off into the night sky.
As soon as it's up and out of, like, it's taken a few wing beats and is now disappearing into the darkness to the point that, it becomes obscured against the blackness, the inkiness of the sky itself. I think Cinza lets out a breath she did not realize she had been holding, and just kind of, oh, what the fuck was that?
Guys are related to dragons.
That was your
Guys,
takeaway
this
from
is
this?
like the best news. And, like, mud still caked now all the way up her arms. It's dry.
That's your takeaway from this.
Yes.
All right.
GM.
I mean, also, like, there's danger afoot, and we may die. But dragons is a really big deal.
So Morrow has this need to feel like she's in control of everything at all points in time because, like, you know, nothing
Oh,
nothing
really?
bad will happen if I can control everything. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. So I'm looking for. I'm sorry. I might need to go grab tissues in a minute. The allergies are awful today. I'm looking at my Shika the Many. There is a spell that if I have, I would like to cast, but I can't find it on my character sheet, and I just want to make sure that I'm not, like, misreading things. Specifically, the one that interests me is Anticipate Peril. That's not one that I've taken, is it? Because I can't find it, but I'm still not completely sure how to navigate.
Correct. It is not. So priests have, or clerics have different abilities and different feats that they can take. So granted spells generally come from other spell lists that are not divine. So it is something that you can get from your god or goddess if you have the correct feats. So if you were a domain initiate, then you would have it. But as a war priest, you have your fighter abilities instead. Exactly.
Okay, okay. Cool.
She's Moro sitting there rethinking her whole life.
Morrow, I think, then is going to try just. She's going to go very still as she sits next to Wick, but you can see her eyes moving behind her eyelids as she begins to pray to, very quietly under her breath, to Shika the Many, just trying to get anything, any more information. Tell me anything.
Thistle's gonna go wash up. She's feeling pretty confident right now. Yes, everything is going wrong, but nothing's going wrong yet. She feels that she was given almost not quite a divine mandate, but now she finally, for the first time, and I think this is something that, like, she hasn't really expressed to everyone else. She hasn't known her patron before. This was a cornerstone moment that she's been waiting for her entire life. And I think for her, while this might, like, be a signal of doom and gloom for everyone else, she is so locked in right now. The feeling is so, we are so back. Things are starting to make sense finally.
I think that makes complete sense. The unseen broker, you know enough about your patron to know that they are obsessed and focused on deals, trades, the flow of information, the power of negotiation. So, you asking this dragon about how to get a one up in negotiation and you just having to meet this incredibly powerful figure that has the ability to potentially give you an edge going into a very important negotiation, the confluence of that absolutely is filling you with confidence and with a sense of power for sure.
We are so incredibly back, you guys. The ball is truly rolling up.
Balls rolling up.
Yeah.
As you're still covered in, like, mud and grime.
Yes.
To clarify, is Wick aware that nobody else kind of got the same kind, like, not a different vision, but he's seen something different?
I think the fact that nobody is talking about it is maybe your first clue that did nobody else notice that? it's just me. They could have been looking at different parts of the scene. They could have been thinking, or yeah, it might have been just you, or it could have been a trick of the light. It could have been something that was floating on the river that you didn't notice that got in the way, and because of the mist obscuring. Wick is a people pleaser. Wick is not a rock the boat type of person. So you might not be as inclined to halt everybody and be like, hey, wait. But if you do feel like it's important enough, you absolutely could ask about it in whichever way that you'd like.
I think that Wick is shooken up. Like, even though he knows that he's out of danger, his body doesn't know yet. So he's just sort of shaking, and he's, corked his fleeing potion. And he's also very pragmatic. So even though he's very cheery, people pleaser, he is a little bit annoyed that they were given the opportunity to learn something, and it was given in such a riddle that he's like, why would you do that? I don't know if he would talk about the man that he would have seen, because I don't know if are we discussing the things, are we hashing this out and like kind of talking about solving this right now?
You can talk about whatever you'd like. I assume you're still pretty keyed up from what just happened. So this is your final conversation before you head off to bed.
I'll
Alright,
say if
guys.
it helps at all that I think Scenes that as soon as like she had the like, okay, what the fuck was that? And then she's like, wait, hold on, and like rushes to her bag and has pulled out paper and scribbles down everything that mostly because I wrote it all down myself. So she scribbles down verbatim everything she can remember about what the dragon said, and so she's repeating the words that were spoken while we were like watching the vision. So if that's an invitation, you can use it as such, or if you want to keep it yourself, that's cool. But that's what she's openly being like, okay, I got to get this written down so we don't forget.
Right. Don't forget the part about the man.
The scribbling, the scratching of the pen or the quill comes to a slow. What are you talking about?
Oh, the dark figured man. It was kind of like coming towards the mansion. It was kind of like not quite in the vision, maybe separate from the vision. You all saw that, right?
That's
Do you think it was a man because you are short and you saw something tall?
that feels rude. And to be honest,
It was my first thought, and it could be possible. Wait,
Well, I guess it's true. Just a tall, big figure of some sort.
I have an alternative theory.
GM, I am gonna leave it up to you. Is Morrow a little too deep in her prayer to hear what Wick is saying, or does she also register this?
Let's call it luck. Let's just do a straight up high or low. I'll roll it. Do you want what's hearing it, high or low?
I'm feeling high because she'd need to kind of
Yeah, I'm
pull
sure you
herself
are.
out of a fixation.
Got
I
it.
will be when we wrap.
Ooh, with an 11, just barely. So at the very edges of your awareness, Morrow, you hear Wick talking about the big the big man, or the strange
Okay.
man.
I don't
Oh,
think Rose going to stop praying, but she is gonna kind of pull that knowledge into her. Please, any information, anything, give me something.
alternative theory. Are we the only people after this? Maybe
Uh,
we aren't going to be the only people showing up looking for the right to go and look for this.
maybe. Hold on, Wick. Back to since it very much gives you like a shut up about that. I'm on this thing, and it's like hold on. Very when did you see the his because he said a curse of benevolence, a heart of malevolence, shifting sands, energy prevalence. I think was the next word.
Correct.
Um, okay. Moonlight.
Shackle, Yes, there's shackle of black iron, and we see the gates around, and then we see a separate figure coming in. It is almost offside, like not quite part of the mansion, maybe coming towards the mansion. Dark figure.
But it was big.
Ominous? I'm unsure. Yes, very big.
How did we? You didn't points her pen towards Thistle. You didn't see that.
No, but marriage, maybe? She's now a single woman in charge of a large estate. Could she be shackled? That would be an option.
But maybe. But you did not see that.
No, but I trust Wick.
Of course, I'm just trying to figure out where our discrepancy. That's weird, right? Like we think that we all
Well,
agree
the
that's
whole
weird.
thing is weird, yes.
So I
And
just thought
We were
something
told by a mad dragon, a prophecy of the future.
out of
sorry,
character. I
that
have just caught something that I didn't catch earlier, so I'm gonna say it and we can decide what to do with that on table. Shackles of black iron. The black iron gate makes me think that maybe Roddy is not the one actually in control.
That's what I've been trying to
Mhm.
get at.
yes.
Cool. Long as we're all on the
I
same page, I'm just gonna say Morrow didn't register that. Cool, fine. I'm not
sure,
the only
fair.
one that that thought. Cool. I'm gonna shut up now.
No, you're good. I'm a clarification as far as did the NPCs also? We have two NPCs with us. Did they also receive this vision? They saw it too. Because Odessa got directly addressed by the dragon.
Yes, Odessa and Amarnis both saw everything that you saw. They heard everything. They were here for
Then
all of that. So let
yeah,
me just
Cinza
see.
rounds on them and asks if they saw the figure that Wick is describing.
Amarnis did not. Odessa did. And Odessa can point out to you that she and Wick were looking at a different section of the wings than the rest of you were. You know, when you think back to that moment. So it could just be a positioning thing.
But it's
And
just
Wick is the most observant of all of you.
sure.
So
That's
that's
entirely fair.
Yeah, expected.
I think that Wick also, without saying to the group, also kind of worries that it could be Emmerich, but doesn't want to say because of the conflict that has happened between Cinza and Moro. He's like, I'm not going
I'm
to
gonna
suggest.
Okay, so Cinza has like since taken like Wick. You're probably she's writing in an area where like you can see what she's writing. She's written down everything. A curse of benevolence, a heart of malevolence, shifting sands, energy prevalence, moonlight, eyes of morning, a hollowed heart full of loss, cold fires contained in a shackle of black iron. And she's got like an arrow pointing to that section, circled it, and has scribbled a note about Wick and Odessa saw figure, and like she's trying to write in notes about what we saw during these lines to like give us the most clear picture of this is weird magical shit, and this is the exact kind of thing she's super into, is like non-traditional weirdo magic stuff. And she's like, okay, I here passes it around to everybody. Make sure I got that correct. Make sure if there's anything you saw that I didn't see or write down, please write it down. um, if this is meant to be a gift, some gifts are shitty, I suppose, but if this is meant to be a gift, then we should make the best of it.
Had a lovely time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure.
okay. So we will let the sun fully descend, or the moon is already out. We will let the night pass. You can sleep peacefully, fitfully, uneasily, whatever is appropriate for you all.
Sleep. She's too amped.
Well, we will pass the night in any case, and when we awake in the morning, we will pack up our camp and head into the capital of Vesperholt, the town of Pale Gleam. So let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we come back. We will see you there.